now we are ready for Q&A section. Again, those who are watching this event through YouTube, and also those who are watching this, the presenters who are also on YouTube, on the Zoom, can also post questions to us. To make our process of managing this Q&A process more simple and straightforward, we are asking you to go to a browser, type in your browser www.sli.do, then enter the event code FL-DSSG, then you should be able to post questions to us. So with that, I'm going to ask Dr. Rishad to manage the Q&A section.
Sure. So as you all are typing in your questions, thinking about some thoughts and ideas that you have, we do have one question that has been posted so far, and it's really about the experience of the interns. So I'm going to turn the microphone, as it were, back to the interns and say, so what was your experience like doing this data science internship? What were some surprises for you and some takeaways, and what sort of advice would you have for someone who's considering in the future, a student considering doing this type of work?
I can say from my own personal view, this was my first time working with not-for-profit organizations directly. And I had done other contracting jobs before, but the true passion for their topic, the excitement whenever you talk to them about their projects was so great. And you could feel it. Then you started to get really passionate about their projects if you weren't already, which, right off the bat I was. But I think just that experience, getting to work with a different type of company was really exciting for me and helpful.
Great. Thanks, Dana. Yeah, how about some other interns?
To build off of Dana's point, I think one of the most incredible parts was learning to work with things that you haven't before. So one of the best parts for me was that everyone involved, they had a different skill to bring to the table. So it was a lot of different ideas for the same problem, which I think was one of the most incredible parts so far in creative problem solving.
Thank you. All right. How about from some of the other projects?
I just want to tack on, this project is very multifaceted. You'll get a lot out of it, and depending on what you come in with trying to learn and your previous experiences. So I'd say no matter what your skill set is previously, if you come from a more business background or a more managerial background, or you come from a technical background, you're going to get something really interesting out of this, and you're going to learn from the other people in your team.
Yeah, how about one more advice, a piece of advice, things that you wish you would have known when you started the program from our interns?
I would say that you should not expect to receive huge database as we are used to in Kaggle projects. So we receive real databases, like real in real projects. So we need to understand the differences, and we need to apply different techniques to the data. Maybe it's not going to be the most complex or fancy technique that will give you the best insight on the data. So you need to try lots of different things. We need to try the most simple approaches and the most complicated one, and see which one tells you a better story about the data. So that was my biggest takeaway.
Yeah, and similar to Allison, that's what I realized. So when we hear of data science, and for me it was always technical when it came to data science. So it was building models and deploying models. But then when I started working on a real data science project, I understood that it was more about working on the data, getting more data, cleaning the data, then actually working on models and then analyzing it.
Yeah, usually it's the 80% rule. Like 80% of your time is actually cleaning the data, and the rest is everything else. So,
Right.
and
But
for
as our courses teach, it is always more about the modeling and then like optimizing the model and stuff. But then this was a big reveal for me that it's more about the data. Thank you.
And so I'd like to turn this question around a bit and hear from our community partners, right? And so what was the, if you're giving advice to other community agencies who might want to participate in this project in the future, what sort of things you wish you had known before you had gotten into the process, that you'd give advice, or any kind of helpful advice you'd give to other organizations, community service organizations that might want to get involved? What sort of advice would you give?
I think one thing that I took away is that you need to know what your wicked problem is, but maybe you don't need to visualize exactly what that solution needs to be, because I think I had something in my head that I thought a product I wanted, but as it turns out, that's not the project, that's not what I wanted. What the team delivered way exceeded my expectations. And so, you know, I think that's part of the data analysis process. So often we all want to kind of force the data into seeing it in a certain way, and you have to be really open to how that's going to turn out.
Yeah, I'd agree with that too. Being open-minded and accepting that looking at data and really parsing it can be obviously eye-opening and challenging in a way where you start to pull back some areas that you really need to look at. And, you know, this is obviously kind of a summary of all the conversations that we've had, but what was additionally helpful for us is kind of really teasing out a lot of the data that was there and looking at it in a different way and being able to take that and go, okay, that's an area that we probably need to look at. And so being open to that is definitely worthwhile, both going into it and getting through it on the other side. So.
I think just to kind of echo that, openness is really important. For us, we knew that we wanted to try to access, we were fingers crossed that we were going to get accepted. And so we were trying to find ways to gather data and trying to put processes into place, looking forward and thinking through what the team might want to see or might want to have access to. And so we gathered a lot of data, and the process really helped us to understand what might be helpful and what might be necessary and what might not be necessary. So now, in some ways, we are completely shifting really the data that we want to continue to capture. And one piece of that is the team's recommendation as to the qualitative piece, so that we're really capturing the voices and experiences of the kids and the young people and the families that we're serving.
Yeah, it's really great. So we have another question about, this is for the interns. Has this experience informed or changed your thoughts about career path or maybe about what types of things you might be doing in the future for your career? I wonder if any of the interns would speak to that. Or maybe it confirmed something that you had thought.
Yeah, to build off of Dana's point previously, it definitely confirmed that I would like to work in something with a nonprofit sector, just because the passion is there and the impact is noticeable, I think, in the community.
Great.
And I guess to add on to that, just I think it confirmed more for me that I really like both the nonprofit community and also data science were both things I was interested in looking at before this, and this confirmed for me that that's a very viable and interesting career path.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy mentoring, and I've always wondered what it would be like for elementary school children if they had the opportunity to have a second advisor, because not all school advisors are equal. And I know that I had a tough time, getting into college because I didn't have a school advisor. They actually they appointed a teacher as an advisor, and so she didn't really know what to tell us. And so I think that knowing that there are that many children out there that could probably still use that mentorship encourages me to go back into that and reach out to schools and see if I can give my time to some students if it would help.
Yeah, so any students now, it sounds like some of you are thinking about this nonprofit sector sort of being a viable option for you in terms of career path.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Any thoughts about that in terms of career and future from our other interns?
Yeah, I would like to add one thing. Being working with nonprofit organization, we can see the impact very soon. Like with the dashboard we have developed, we are really interested to know what is the impact it is going to make. So in the very less time, we are going to see the impact when we work with nonprofit organization. That's the thing. I was very interested to work with nonprofit organizations.
We had an interesting question coming in from one of our industry Sherpas, and that is now thinking back. This is for the interns, thinking back for where your headspace was, what you were thinking, what your mindset at the beginning of the project. So I want you to go back and introduce yourself to the person that you were before this program started. And I want you to tell that person something that they should have in mind as they look forward to the next 12 weeks. What would you tell them? It's a good question.
To learn Tableau.
I think because our project was so visual, just knowing that there were people at a disadvantage out there, but then to see, like, you're going to, in this project, see how many are just in your own county. That was crazy.
Mm-hmm. So other interns, what are you saying to yourself as yourself that you're starting?
I would say to myself not to be afraid of the term data science. I come from a business background, and this term kind of scared me a little bit, but I saw it as much more accessible. Doing data science is much more accessible than I thought before. So you don't need to be afraid. You just need to love working with data, be interested in the project, have passion about what you're doing, and just go.
All right. Yeah.
I don't want to call anybody out, other interns out, but I will if I have to. So Chandrika, what would you say to yourself?
Okay, so before starting on the DSSG project, I was trying to do my best understanding all of the modeling, which Python offers and stuff. And I never worked on a qualitative analysis before. So the initial 6 to 8 weeks, I think we tried almost every different way to cluster our clients and then do NLP and stuff. But the answer was a simple qualitative analysis, which gave us more insights. So that was a big learning for me that, like we should be open to different ways to dive into the data. So Yeah, I think that was that would be the thing I would be telling myself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
And what about Vinay and Suat?
I will be more focused on my steps. Yeah, sorry, it's again says the unstable internet. Sorry about that. So I will be more careful about the steps again. For example, if I start with the data cleaning, I just validate all this part and then do some analysis. Otherwise, sometimes we have to go back and then clean the other variables. So we did some parts twice or more than twice. So I will be more careful on following the steps actually.
Yeah, that was a constant, just for those in the audience, that was a, a constant thing, a constant question that we have. It's like, all right, show me your data. Show me what data do you have, and is it clean data? Is it, working? So these guys had to go back and forth and think through their steps again. Vinay, what about you? What would you tell yourself?
Vinay, you are in mute. On
Well, most of our time I have worked for the ECS. I have given my most of the time for ECS. Now, if given, I would have worked I would have done more analysis on literacy alliance and would have brought some more to the table. But Swat and Raj has did a very great work. Yeah.
Great. All right, well, given that we are wrapping up in terms of our questions, I think I'll turn things back over to Dr. Amapati.